Hello comrades, yes it's me, a Yorkshireman now living in Wales. I hope everybody's okay. Today comrades, I'm going to carry on looking at Sustrans and I'm going to explore what would happen if I had ultimate power, took the money away from Sustrans and I diverted it into things like the NHS and of course into your local council. Because the NHS for 30 odd years, if not longer than that, we've always had we need to save the NHS. However, 30 years on, we're still saving the NHS, yet it would appear we're not doing a very good job. Or should I say, the politicians are not doing a very good job. We're now in the same situation where council themselves are coming out with the same cry. Yet the councils themselves just take our money and services get less and less. So I'm going to use, for example, Sustrans. So the first thing we're going to do is, or I'm going to do, should I say, I'm going to look at all their annual reports from 2019 to current date. Now, I'll be talking big money here, so I'm just going to talk in millions of pounds, and I'll give you my insights into how this money could be better used. And also, you'll be surprised that most of these charities, just based on this single charity alone, shouldn't exist anymore, just based on the maths or the money. So, first slide here, you can stop the slides. Annual report and financial statements for Sustrans 2019-20. You can find these online yourself to double check to make sure I'm not misleading you. So, we go to the end, highlighted figure 2019, go down to the bottom, you can see a figure there of over £41 million. Oh, I should make sure everybody knows that the Welsh Government, the Scottish Government, the Government in Northern Ireland and the English Government all contribute to these charities. What you see on paper isn't quite often the amount they've contributed. Sometimes it goes through different routes. Anyway, I just thought I'd put that in. So it looks on the face of it, they've got £41 million from charitable activities. Not really, no. Because what you then do is we go to the bottom bit, 17 grants received from government bodies. And as you can see there, now the figures there is over £29 million. Now they've not added it up for some reason. However, I've added it all up and it's still over £29 million. So what we then have to do is take away the grants from the charitable activities, and what we see is they're left with over £12 million. So from what I can tell, because it's very difficult to get an accurate information of this, and disclaimer, believe it or not, I'm not an accountant. So I then simply take charitable activities away, so I take 17 away from 2, and that then leaves me with just over £12 million. The next thing, using common sense, I do is I see what the wage bills are. And the wage bills, this is 2019, or they call it staff costs, are over £16 million. So that tells me already that they should be broke. Don't stop there though, because I then go down to support costs. As you can see, support costs are over £4 million. Add them together and you get over £20 million. Now that to me means that they're £8 million in debt already. So take away the government grants and this place would not exist. So the pattern is exactly the same as I go through all the other accounts, so I won't bore them with them. There's a little few variations, give or take, but it's near enough the same. So now we jump up and we go to 2023, or should I say 2024, and what you'll see there is they now have a massive increase according to their charitable activities. So on the face of it you think they're doing really well. They have got a total of £137 million. That's quite a lot, isn't it? However, we do what we did last time, go down to the bottom and you can see grants received from government bodies is £124 million. Now do the same maths, that leaves them with a massive total of, not really massive, over £13 million. Now, if you think about it, that is actually only £1 million going back to 2019, and we're now in 2024. Again, they would be broke, just based on this maths alone. So, I then go look at the staff costs, and as you can see here, the staff costs seem to have shot up a little bit. It's now over £29 million. However, I then add in the support costs, and what do you get? So there was over £6 million. It's a total of near enough £35 million, or should I say near enough £36 million, which means they definitely would be broke. yet it's only because of the government grants that they are able to survive. So the other thing I did notice is in 2019 their staff levels for senior staff, which is people paid over 60,000 and more, why that's a figure I don't know, they employed 7 staff. Now of course they employ 23. Right, again you can look at all this. So I then asked the question, and I did use artificial intelligence for this, is how much is a band 5 nurse? So I went for a middle person here, band 5 nurse, that's okay. Now, bit of a disclaimer, I've not included all the training costs in this. However, in the great scheme of life, adding training costs already when you're paying people already, sort of like, yeah, it could add 10 or 10% different. But you can knock that off if you wish from the numbers I'm going to show. So as you can see here, base salary over 5 years, so there's it. You can put the slide up, read it yourself. So I then asked the question. I said, so based on the first grant in 2019, which they gave to Sustrans, which was over £29 million, how many people could the NHS employ, and also how many council staff could we have? So you could have a mixture of both. And as you can see here, this is over 5 years, but no training costs in there, so the numbers might be low. But it's quite staggering. You could have 122 staff working in the NHS, and I'm only on about frontline staff, or in the council staff, and this is mixed grade staff, you could have 191 staff. And this is from 2019, again using up-to-date figures, as in the cost of employing people. So at that point, just imagine if we'd done that from 2019 all the way to current date. We'd be in a better position, wouldn't we? Now that is our money which is getting used better. So I then asked the other question is, and I went for the grant in 2024, and that was about £124 million, which ironically is about the same amount it's going to cost for the 36 more members of the Senate who no one in Wales wants to be put into place, so we then have to pay more and get less representation. Because the representation you get in Wales at the moment is quite diabolical, to be honest, because they all have their own agendas. So what happens to this then? Well, ask the same question, 5 years, and there you go, 511 staff, council staff, 800 staff. Now at that point, what I then did, just as a local test for myself, is I put in £3 million. The reason £3 million is Gwynedd Council has spent about £3 million on doing climate change stuff, and that's a very conservative estimate. Bearing in mind, Gwynedd Council have also said to me, oh, we're having difficulty with planning because we're understaffed. Right, so I'm here to help you. And as you can see here, NHS you could have 12 staff, and this is for 5 years, or in the council you could have 19 staff. See, it's not hard, is it? So this is a good demonstration of then how we can do things better just by using common sense. Yes, sadly, we'd have to get rid of all these charities, but I think it'd be worth it to help the NHS and our local council so we get better services. Oh, that's a thought, isn't it? So I then looked at the total amount from 2019 to current, just this one charity have got, and that's Sustrans, a charity, and they have had over £439 million, right, in them 5 years. Now, to be fair, I then asked the question of the machine, I got it to crunch the numbers. So that amount of money, 439 over 10 years, I then said how many staff could it employ, as you can see here. And this is over 10 years, not 5 years, over 10 years. NHS, 906 staff, council, 1,417 staff. What can I say? So, if you want to help to save the NHS and you want to help your council, start cutting out all the grants to maybe just one charity, Sustrans charity, and then focus on the other charities. Right, comrades, just shows, doesn't it? A little bit of common sense and a bit of jiggery-pokery with new technology. It's amazing what you can do. Right, comrades, please leave a comment, subscribe and tick, because I'm still getting shadow banned on quite a lot of the social media, so clearly I'm doing something right. Right, catch you on the other side. Thank you for watching.